Hello friends, my name is Mia, and I'm here to share the story of how my mother-in-law's actions backfired on her. Rita, my mother-in-law, might blame me, but she brought it on herself by trying to break up my marriage to her son, Nigel. If she hadn't tried to interfere, she wouldn't have ended up divorced. Here's what happened and how I finally removed Rita's toxic presence from my life. Rita absolutely hated me. Why? No reason. She hated every woman her son Nigel dated. She had an unhealthy attachment to Nigel and believed that any woman he dated was trying to steal him away from her. Her husband, my father-in-law Luke, wasn't like her at all. He is a kind man who still treats me like his own daughter, which is why I was so angry when I found out about Rita's betrayal. Here's what Rita tried to do. When Nigel and I announced our engagement, she accused me of cheating with my best friend. It was a ridiculous claim with no evidence, just based on her suspicions. My best friend, who is a guy, and I have been close since childhood. We have a great relationship but respect the boundaries set by our spouses. We even go on double dates and trips together. Nigel always trusted me and knew I was faithful, but Rita didn't see it that way. A man and a woman can't be that close without something going on. I bet she's cheating on you, Rita said to Nigel. Mom, you're being ridiculous. Mia and her best friend are just friends. She's not cheating. They hardly ever meet alone. I trust my fiancé completely, Nigel replied. You're naive, Nigel. Mia is only with you because you have a good income. She might even try to trap you with a baby, Rita insisted. I don't know what you're talking about, Rita. None of that will happen. I love your son, and my best friend is just my best friend. Nothing is going on between us. You're being insulting when you say those things, I added. I know you're lying, Mia. Don't pretend to be innocent with me. I know your type very well, Rita retorted. Of course, Rita knew about girls like that. She was one of them. But that would come to light later. Nigel didn't believe her ridiculous lies, and we got married anyway. She tried to tell everyone that he was marrying a cheater. Some family members were confused, but once Nigel explained the truth, they were angry at Rita and apologized to me. Nigel and his father confronted Rita and yelled at her. Although she wasn't sorry, she promised to behave from then on. I really thought Rita would change and stop her nonsense, but she didn't. Her next move was even worse. The beginning of Rita's downfall started when I got pregnant with our first child. It was a boy, and everyone was happy for us. Nigel was thrilled to become a father, and Luke was excited to be a grandfather. The only one who wasn't happy was Rita. She revived her Mia's cheating claims and even said the baby wasn't Nigel's. We were all furious, and Nigel tried to keep me out of the drama to avoid stressing me out. Now here comes the fun part. As soon as my son was born, Rita saw him and said, "This child can't be my son's. He looks nothing like Nigel did as a baby. This can't be your son, Nigel." Mom, what is wrong with you? This is my son. Not all babies look exactly like their parents did as babies. I didn't look like Dad as a baby either. You are being ridiculous, Nigel responded. Nigel, open your eyes. This child is too light-skinned to be yours. We're all too tan to have a baby with this skin color, Rita insisted. What on earth are you talking about, Rita? You're being absurd. The baby's skin is lighter because I'm fair-skinned, and babies' skin colors can change as they grow. Use some common sense before you accuse me, I argued. We had a huge fight with Rita about this. In the end, Nigel kicked her out of the hospital and was really angry with her. But Rita didn't waste any time. She immediately started spreading rumors that the baby wasn't Nigel's. Some people started to doubt us, especially since we didn't want the baby around everyone before he was a month old. Rita's gossip and pressure from others were getting to us. Finally, I gave in and agreed to a DNA test. Nigel didn't want me to. Mia, you don't have to do this. I trust you completely. I know our son is mine. Rita can go jump in a lake, Nigel said. Nigel, please. I'm tired of Rita insulting me and everyone assuming things. This drama has gone on for too long. I have nothing to hide, so let's just get it over with, I said. Mia, Nigel, I think there's something you need to know, Luke interrupted. What is it, Dad? Nigel asked. I don't know how to say this, but Nigel, you might not be my biological son, Luke said, his tone serious. We were all at home when Luke dropped this bombshell. He had been acting strangely for a while. So we were on edge, but we never expected him to say something like this. Nigel was especially shocked. Dad, what are you saying? Listen, I saw a doctor recently, and some things he said made me question whether I'm your biological father. Are you serious? Oh my God, are you sure? It's possible. There's a good chance, Nigel, and I think it's time we found out for sure. Mia, don't tell Rita about this. Let's get me and Nigel tested. I want to confront her when we have the results. She's planning a family dinner for when the DNA reports for Nigel and my grandson come in. Honestly, I was speechless. I agreed to the plan because it seemed like the best option at the time. Nigel and Luke were too overwhelmed to handle it, so I took charge. The DNA test was done, and true to her word, Rita arranged a family dinner to reveal the results to everyone. She was clearly eager to embarrass me. But in her rush, Rita grabbed the wrong envelope. Nigel, Luke, and I noticed, but we stayed quiet. You can imagine our shock when Rita excitedly announced, "I was right. They're not a match. My son isn't the father of Mia's son. Mia is a cheater." Rita was ecstatic when the results showed no connection between the people tested. She saw it as a chance to kick me out of Nigel's life. She danced around, shouting to everyone that Nigel wasn't the father of my child. But I didn't react. Meanwhile, Luke and Nigel were pale and trembling with anger. Rita thought they were angry at me and said, "See, I told you all Mia's a cheater. Nigel isn't the father of her child. That's not my grandson. Mia's trying to pass off some stranger's kid as Nigel's. Oh, my poor boy. I tried to warn you, but no one listened. Rita, you should have checked the DNA results in private before announcing them to everyone," I suggested. "Why would I do that, Mia? Everyone needs to know what a cheater you are. I'm not going to cover for you. You deserve to be kicked out of our lives for this," Rita snapped. Nigel couldn't take it anymore. I could see how furious and betrayed he felt. I didn't try to stop him from speaking out. "Stop it, Mom. Just stop. Mia isn't going anywhere. She's my wife, and I love and trust her. She's the mother of my child." "Nigel, what are you saying? These results clearly show the child isn't yours. Mia cheated on you and is trying to trap you with a baby. Here, look for yourself," Rita urged, handing Nigel the papers. "No, I don't need to look. You need to double-check these results and think before you accuse. You shouldn't have pushed for the DNA test. Look at the mess you've caused," Nigel replied. "Nigel, I know this is hard to accept, but it's the truth. Mia cheated on you. She's making you raise someone else's child," Rita persisted. At this moment, Luke found his voice and thundered, breaking his shocked silence. He was furious and ready to confront Rita. "So, Mia's making Nigel raise someone else's child, just like you tried to pass off Nigel as my son years ago," Luke accused. "Luke, what are you talking about?" "Nigel is your son," Rita exclaimed. "I'm not like Mia, who sleeps around with everyone. Why are you attacking me because of her?" Rita defended herself. "Why don't you double-check the report, Rita? It'll help you understand what's going on. These are the DNA tests between Nigel and our son. Look, it clearly says they're father and son," I explained. "What? Then why does this document say they're not related? What's happening?" Rita exclaimed. "If you read it carefully, you'd see it's for Nigel and Luke, and it says they're not related at all." "Nigel isn't Luke's son," I revealed. Rita looked at me in disbelief. Her secret of 25 years was out, and she couldn't stop it from spreading. She called family members to expose my supposed secret, but it backfired when her own secret came out instead. Luke and Nigel were furious, and Rita knew she was in trouble. She kept reading the report, hoping it was wrong. No, this can't be true. Nigel is Luke's son. We were trying for a child when I got pregnant with him." "Nigel is your son, Luke," Rita insisted. "Oh really, Rita? So you're saying the reports are wrong and you didn't cheat on me?" Luke challenged. "Nigel is your son, Luke. Mia's trying to trick you with this paternity test to get back at me," Rita insisted. "This wasn't just Mia's plan, Rita. It was mine too. Remember how I went to the doctor recently for tests? Well, it turns out I've been infertile my whole life. I never knew because I never went to the doctor before. Nigel can't be my son," Luke revealed. No, this can't be happening," Rita cried. "This can't be true. I even have a feeling I know who Nigel's real father is. It's Fred, isn't it?" "Your ex before me," Luke accused. Rita turned pale when she heard Luke's accusation. Her reaction confirmed our suspicions. Nigel remained silent, clearly hurt and angry. I could see the pain and fear in his eyes. The room was filled with a sense of betrayal. and everyone looked at Rita with disbelief and anger. Even her own mother looked ready to faint. No one knew about Rita's affair or Nigel not being Luke's son. It was a disaster for her, and she started crying when Luke spoke. "You don't need to say anything, Rita. Your reaction says it all. You cheated with Fred, didn't you?" Luke said calmly. "It doesn't matter now. My love for you is gone. I've suspected this for a while, and now that it's out in the open, I want a divorce." "Luke, what are you saying? That was in the past. I ended things with Fred as soon as I found out I was pregnant with Nigel. He doesn't even know about Nigel. You're Nigel's father, through and through," Rita pleaded. "That's right, Rita. I've been Nigel's father for 25 years. I don't care what the DNA test says. Nigel is my son, and he always will be. He may not be my biological child, but he's my blessing. I'll be his father for as long as I live," Luke declared firmly. Luke's words were exactly what Nigel needed to hear. He had been terrified of losing the only father he'd ever known. When Luke reassured him, Nigel broke down in tears. I held him close, trying to comfort him while Luke and the others confronted Rita. Rita tried to salvage the situation. "You're right, Luke. You raised Nigel for 25 years. He's yours. Let's just forget about the DNA test and move on." "We can—" "No, Rita. Just no," Luke interrupted. "Things will never be the same. Every time I look at you, I'll be reminded of your betrayal. Nigel may be my son, but you're no wife of mine. A woman who cheats on her husband can't be my wife. I'm divorcing you. That's final." "No, Luke, you can't do this. We've been married for 30 years. You can't leave me over this," Rita pleaded, shocked and desperate. But nobody was sympathetic. Even her own family was siding with Luke's decision and hurling insults at her. Rita continued crying, begging for forgiveness. Then she turned to Nigel, hoping he could sway Luke. "Nigel, look at what your father is saying. He's going to leave me. Please, don't let him. Please, make him understand," Rita implored. "Don't you dare call me son. I don't want to call you mother anymore. You've been deceitful, dragging Mia through the mud when you were the one hiding the truth. I can't even look at you," Nigel snapped. "No, Nigel, I am your mother. I gave birth to you. I'm sorry, son. I'm so sorry for everything. Please don't hate me. I made a mistake. Mia, please. You're a woman. You understand. Please help me make them understand," Rita pleaded desperately. "I never expected this to happen." Rita was so desperate that she started begging me for help. It was pathetic and disgusting. She thought I would overlook her sins just because I'm a woman. How could she think I'd be on her side? I wanted her to suffer for what she'd done. "Oh hell no, Rita. You brought this on yourself. You were the one pushing Nigel to divorce me, claiming my son isn't his. Now that it's true for you, did you really expect me to support you? You targeted me and my innocent son for nothing. You betrayed my husband and my father-in-law for 3 decades. You don't deserve anyone's forgiveness. I agree with Luke. He needs to divorce you. It was a mistake, Mia. You're an honest woman and I know you care about your family. Your new family is about to be torn apart, Mia. Please don't let it happen. My family consists of me, my son, Nigel, and Luke. You're not part of that family, Rita. A woman who treated me and her own family so badly can't be considered family to me. I don't want you anywhere near me or my son again. The rest is up to Nigel to decide," I stated firmly. "I don't want you near me either, Rita. Stay away from me and my family. Dad is doing the right thing by divorcing you. You brought this upon yourself. You wanted to prove a son doesn't belong to his father, to break up a marriage. Well, congratulations, Rita. It's happening to your own family now," Nigel added, his voice icy and controlled. Rita looked stunned, as if she'd been drenched in ice water. Nigel's calm demeanor surprised everyone. He didn't need to raise his voice to convey his message. It was clear he meant every word. Rita sank to the floor, avoiding eye contact. Family members berated her, but I felt no sympathy. Luke informed her she needed to leave his house soon. It was his property inherited before their marriage. Living in an at-fault state, Luke could sue Rita for paternity fraud, possibly avoiding alimony payments. Rita was in serious trouble now. As days passed, Luke stayed true to his word. He wasted no time in consulting a divorce lawyer the next day and initiated the eviction process against Rita. She threw a dramatic tantrum, full of tears, begging, and shouting, but Luke remained firm in his decision to remove her from his life. Rita bombarded Nigel and me with texts and calls, pleading and making excuses for her actions. We read a few messages before blocking her altogether. Then Rita showed up at our doorstep, tearful and desperate. "Luke's kicking me out, guys. I have nowhere to go. I only have a little money left for a divorce lawyer. I need a place to stay." "You can go wherever you like, Rita. We won't be providing you with shelter. We've made it clear we want nothing to do with you," I responded firmly. "I'm your mom, Nigel. Why are you calling me by my name?" "I am your mother," Rita pleaded. I was seething with anger. While I was glad Rita was facing consequences, the paternity ordeal had taken a toll on both Nigel and Luke. Luke coped in his own way, but Nigel was struggling. It was heartbreaking to see him in such pain while also caring for our newborn. Rita acting like it was no big deal infuriated me. "I'm sorry, Rita, but you've lost that privilege. You're nothing more than a stranger to us now." And Nigel's right. "We won't be providing you with shelter," I declared firmly. "Mia, please, don't do this. My grandson needs his grandma," Rita pleaded. "Don't you dare call my son your grandson. Your own son refuses to call you mom, and you can't suddenly be a grandma to a child you never wanted in your life. Don't try to guilt us using my innocent child. It won't work. We've had enough of you, Rita. It's time for you to leave. Don't bother coming back, because I'll call the police. Trust me, you don't want more legal trouble after this." It sounds like Rita faced the consequences of her actions head-on. After some more tears and pleading, Nigel firmly shut the door in her face. It was satisfying to see her facing the consequences of her actions, considering the havoc she wreaked on so many lives. Eventually, she left when she realized we wouldn't budge. Rita mostly stayed away until it was time for her to leave Luke's house. She tried to beg and guilt-trip us into letting her in again, but we stood our ground. When we threatened to call the police, she finally left. I heard she found a place to stay with a friend who got her a job in their office as a warehouse worker. The divorce proceedings were messy, with Rita trying to tilt things in her favor, but her excuses fell flat in our at-fault state. They divorced in 6 months and went their separate ways. Rita continued to harass Luke to get her old life back, but he remained firm. Now she's miserable, working in a warehouse and barely scraping by. She's been cut off from the entire family and excluded from parties and gatherings. Meanwhile, Nigel and Luke are doing much better after starting therapy. It's heartening to see their strong bond endure despite the paternity revelation. We still have our weekly family dinners, and Luke often visits to spend time with his grandson. Overall, we've managed to return to our normal lives while Rita is left to wallow in loneliness and misery.